We begin with Andrew Vanderpool with a super chat. As promised, Andrew, we're starting off the show with it. If Byron walks, are we really going to look to a rookie to fill the role? I personally don't trust Cheeto as the number one. He also says, put Mia at cornerback one. I will get roasted. You do not want Mia as cornerback one unless you're trying to make Awuzie look way better. I agree with you. I don't trust Cheeto as the number one corner. For starters, all of this wouldn't have been an issue if they just drafted Juan Thornhill, who can play corner and safety. But that's beside the point. I'm just still mad about it. If they don't re-sign Byron, I worry about trying to get into a bidding war with a true number one corner, which makes me think the draft is the route they'd end up going. But we'll, of course, check back in here in a couple of months. We'll have a much better feel. Caleb Queen, how do you feel about Xavier McKinney from Alabama? Hate to make you mad, but I like him better than Delpit. Caleb, that does actually not make me mad. That is not a outlandish take or not a hate-worthy take that you might think that it is. McKinney and Delpit are different players. The way I describe them is that if one of these guys is going to be an all-pro, it's going to be Delpit. If one of them ends up being a bust, it's also going to be Delpit. Alabama used McKinney, I think, a little bit more in the box, and they loved having him over tight ends. That's a valuable role right there. I like McKinney. I don't love him at 17. I would prefer to trade down later in round one if that's the route I'm going to go. But if, like, for some strange reason, the cornerbacks all go off the board, DT, edge all go off the board, and you're left with offensive linemen and safeties, I think that makes a lot more sense for the Cowboys going with McKinney or Delpit. RB Nightmare, could you see us double dipping in a certain position and which one? I think corner is a very plausible double dipping option there. Defensive tackle as well, depending on what you do in free agency at both of those spots. It would obviously be an early round pick and a late round pick. I don't think you're going to spend a first and a third on those positions. It'd be early pick and a late pick. Gaming night, if the Cowboys let Robert Quinn go, who do you think the Cowboys will draft or sign as a free agent? I'll focus on the draft there. I am intrigued by the idea of going after either A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa, who I think his size being a little bit bigger will limit some teams' view of him, and they might allow him to slide a little bit, or Caleb on Chasen, who brings you more of that bendy edge in a Robert Quinn type of mold there. Those are the guys I like in round one. Then in rounds 2 and 3 and beyond, I'd probably start considering players like a Bradley Anai out of Utah. So back to round 1 here, and I'm curious what you guys vote on this front. Which round 1 player do you not want to draft? So we've, of course, talked about the players that you want. We can also focus on the I don't want these guys here. For me, even though I like the player, if you bring back Henry Ruggs and Amari Cooper, just give away the answer, Amari Cooper and Cobb, I don't need to spend another first-round pick on Henry Ruggs. So at that point, I'm not looking to go that route in the end. And frankly, I'm certainly not spending a round 1 quarterback on or pick on a quarterback if I have Dak Prescott. And I like Robert's question here. No linebackers. I agree. You've invested too much in Jalen and Leighton Vander Esch. You got to roll with those guys for now. Matthew Long, what do you think of picking up Grant Delpit in the draft? I know many of you guys like him, and understandably so. There are some concerns, and I keep going back to his tape over and over again because it bothers me. Because he should have played way better this year. I know he won the Defensive Back of the Year award in college football. He had no business winning. He was the third best secondary player on that LSU team. He missed way too many tackles. Now, I think there were some business decisions in there, and I don't know where the whole he played bad the national title game came from. That I just watched that game again. He did not. He played really well in that game, beyond one bad angle. I am down at 17. That's a very good potential fallback option if like a Fulton's off the board and Kinlaw are off the board. I'm open to it. I do have some concerns that I didn't have entering this season. William says Javon Kinlaw in round 1, Kyle Duggar in round 2. I'm in. I mean, I've mentioned Duggar before on this show. Perfect fit at strong safety. Souped up athlete, was a return guy too, and was just dominant at a lower level. Had a good week at the Senior Bowl. I like Kinlaw at defensive tackle as well. He's better than Tristan Hill. That takes care of two of my bigger needs. I especially like that if you end up bringing in a corner in free agency or you just retain Byron Jones. All right, Tyler Fox wants to know some of my favorite day 3 prospects. I really like going receiver in day 3 as it relates to the Dallas Cowboys because there are so many prospects who are truly worthy of being top 100 players at that position that several of them are going to end up sliding. That's a KJ Hill potentially, a Devin Duvernay. I don't think Denzel Mims or Michael Pittman fall, but that's an option as well. It's a very strong wide receiver class. I like going that route. I see someone say Lynn Bowden, Antonio Gandy Golden. I don't love Golden's fit as much in the Cowboys, but yes, as a general day 3 prospect, I think all of those guys make sense. You can still re-sign Amari and Cobb, maybe a shorter term for Cobb. That way, you move right on in, and you've got more depth at receiver. I think that makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys. I like the idea of going receiver earlier on day 3 and focusing on defense before that. Now, I'm trying to help you guys out here, okay? And speaking from personal experience, I guess we'll call it, you do not want to forget about Valentine's Day. So I'm going to help you guys save 15% off all flowers and gifts at Pro Flowers. Head over to chatsports.com/flowers. That's chatsports.com/flowers. That will save you 15% off flowers, includes roses, of course, all types of gifts as well. Check the comments. Check the description. I've got that link in there for you guys. And do it right now. That way it's out of the way and you don't have to worry about doing the rush shipping or forgetting on accident. All right, Amari Cooper, if we lose, from Amari Cooper. Okay, I got real confused there for a second. Amari asking a question about himself here. If we lose Cooper and Byron, should we draft a corner or a wide out? Boy, I am pretty concerned if you lose both of those guys to what exactly your plan is on both sides of the football. I'd probably go with maybe a receiver. Like, if it comes down to Fulton or Ruggs, I'll take probably Fulton. But if Ruggs is there, he makes a lot more sense all of a sudden. But I hope that's certainly not the outcome there for the Cowboys. All right, ImJust HIM wants to know about the compensatory pick process. Nothing official yet. That won't come out for a little bit. I believe the Cowboys are in line for an extra 5th-round pick. That's my mindset, and I think that gives you an extra piece to move up, move down, whatever. Just keep it. So I think a 5th-round pick is what your expectations should be on that front. Of course, it'll be a late 5th-round pick. Joey Cruz, what kind of edge rushers are going to be available at number 17? I know many of you have said that you don't think A.J. Epinesa is going to be there. I don't think that he is, but depending on how the board ends up going, I think there is at least a chance that he ends up being on the board at that point. I would say watch out for Kayvon Chasen, and then after those guys, I don't really love the grouping. I think it's a little bit top-heavy, then it kind of thins out there. Iturgos Matos out of Penn State. I don't know if I'd love him at 20, but he's an option there. Terrell Lewis has injury concerns. I know some of you like Curtis Weaver. That's a little bit too early for my blood, though. Same with guys like Julian Aquara or Bernard or anyone else out there. So if you miss out on those top 3 guys, I'd probably start looking in other directions in terms of positions. Wolverine fan. I am not a Byron Jones fan. Athletic, but I hope we either draft a ball hawk cornerback or a massive DT. What do you think is more plausible for our draft? If Byron leaves, I think you need to start looking corner because I don't want to enter next year with Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, and did they re-sign Anthony Brown? Both are obviously needs, but if you lose most of your DTs and you lose your corners, I'll take a round 1 corner, and then I'll worry about DT in round 2 and round 3. I think the talent gap works out a little bit better that way. But you can still make an argument for a big-time DT like a Javon Kinlaw. Now, if you guys want the best Dallas Cowboys draft coverage, we will keep you guys covered. Hit the big red button here on YouTube. We'll do more than just live Q&A. We did some mock drafts. We did targets. We'll come back to that as well. We'll look at position draft targets as well, especially as the Senior Bowl age or as the Combine passes. Hit that big red button and subscribe today. And then shout out producer Alicia for trying hard to trigger me on the show. Let Dak go and draft a quarterback. Who are you getting, guys? Like, if you can give me Joe Burrow, let's go. I'm in. You ain't getting from 17-1. Give up that dream. If Tua's there, means he's not healthy. I'll tell you that much. And then if you're looking at Justin Herbert, he's not going to last there. I'm a big Jordan Love guy, but if you take Jordan Love, you can't play him in year one. You got to sit him. Jacob Eason sucks. Jake Fromm can not throw the ball downfield. Jalen Hurts is just a shittier version of Dak Prescott. Anthony Gordon might be good in 2 years. Nate Stanley's horrible. You don't have any options there. So you take Dak if your goal is to win this year. If your goal is to not and to rebuild, okay, we can have that discussion. But I really don't want to rebuild at this point if I am the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Miguel Rodriguez, instead of us trading down, and what could we get in return if we trade down for a later pick in the first round? I think in terms of trading down, it's still pretty early on that front because I don't know what the board's going to like. Like if a Kinlaw or a Fulton or even a Delpit McKinney, if you want to go that route, like that's fine. If you move down, depending on how far down you move, you could end up getting either a third or a second back. I probably wouldn't move that far down, but heck, maybe a team like the Bills wants to move up, and I can drop a couple spots down, add a later round pick. Depending on how the board has fallen, that makes some sense for me if I'm the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Angel the Hurt says draft Jason Huntley from New Mexico State. I'm not even sure if he's drafted. Let me double check this real fast. But to answer your question, not going to be an early round pick. I'll tell you that. He was a senior, so I had to quickly double check that one. But he can be an undrafted free agent guy. He's not going to be a guy you want to target early. And beyond that, I don't need to add another early round back. I have Pollard, I have Zeke. I'm looking for at most a third rounder. Like, that's or a third back, which I'm not going to spend a premium pick on whatsoever. All right, Gordon Baird, if I pronounced that last name wrong, I'm sorry. He says, need beef up front. I completely agree. You have got to find interior big boys at defensive tackle. If you don't, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have more of the same issues where you're not going to have talent on the interior. Beef is back on the menu for the Dallas Cowboys. Go at it, and you'll be better off in terms of both the pass and especially against the run. Today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. If you're looking to place some bets on Super Bowl 54, do it with BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code you see on your screen. It's Cowboys120. That promo code gets you a 120% deposit bonus. What that means is if you put down $50, we're going to give you $60 for free. Now, I already placed some prop bets out there. One of the fun ones was the first head coach shown. Andy Reid or Kyle Shanahan. Heck, you can bet on Gatorade color. It's going to be purple, by the way. Bet the purple. If you haven't already, bet purple. I'm getting weird looks. Bet the purple. Trust me on that one, guys. It's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. That way, if you get some promo bets wrong, you're going to be fine. You got a whole bunch of extra money left over in your account. That's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. All right, from Khajalik Campbell, I say draft McKinney, then draft a defensive tackle in round 2. I don't mind that idea, especially if the corners and Kinlaw are off the board. I don't think Neville Gallimore lasts around 2. I sure love that. And then you're looking at guys like maybe Justin Matabuke drops, maybe someone like a Ross Blacklock can slide to you, or maybe a Lecky Fotu or Jordan Elliott if you want some of that beef on the interior. All right, ImJust HIM. Who do you see as a good slot receiver replacement and your favorite tight end? If you're looking for a slot, if you want to go earlier, Justin Jefferson played a lot of that role at LSU. If you want to go a little bit later, guys like a KJ Hill, a Devin Duvernay, I think fit that mold really well. And those options, I think, make sense either round 3 or round 4, that's a route to go for the Cowboys. My favorite tight end, I like Adam Trotman a lot, the kid out of Dayton. I know many of you like Thaddeus Moss, and if he's there in round 3, I am happy to have that discussion if he's on the board. Shakes, the finest weight is Kinlaw, inside or an edge. Javon Kinlaw is undoubtedly an interior defensive lineman. Checked in at like almost 6'6", 315 pounds with vines for arms. He is going to be a defensive tackle. That is the role he's going to play. Probably 3 technique on passing down or on most downs, and could maybe kick him inside to the 1 technique spot on obvious passing downs. He's not quite as big, but there is a little bit of similarities in terms of the size to David Irving, and of course with a much better love for the game of football. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.